The Nectar of Devotion by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupāda. Chapter 27, Symptoms of Ecstatic Love. The bodily symptoms which are manifested by a devotee in expressing ecstatic love for Krishna are called anubhava. Practical examples of anubhava are as follows: dancing, rolling on the ground, singing very loudly, stretching the body, crying loudly, yawning, breathing very heavily, neglecting the presence of others, drooling, laughing like a madman, wheeling the head, and belching. When there is an extraordinary excess of ecstatic love, with all of these bodily symptoms manifested, one feels relieved transcendentally. These symptoms are divided into two parts. One is called shita, and the other is called kṣepana. When there is yawning, it is called shita, and when there is dancing, it is called kṣepana. While watching the rasa dance performed by Lord Kṛṣṇa and the gopis, Lord Shiva beheld the beautiful face of Krishna and immediately began to dance and beat upon his small dīṇ-dīma drum. While Lord Shiva was dancing in ecstasy, his eldest son, Ganesh, joined him. In the third canto, first chapter, 31st verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vidura inquires from Uddhava, "My dear friend, is Akrura in an auspicious condition? He is not only a learned scholar and sinless, but he is also a devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. He has such ecstatic love for Krishna that I have seen him rolling upon Krishna's footprints in the dust, as if bereft of all senses." Similarly, one gopi gave a message to Krishna that Radharani, because of her separation from him and because of her enchantment with the flavor of his flower garlands, was rolling on the ground, thereby bruising her soft body. One gopi informed Krishna that when Srimati Radharani was singing about his glories, she enchanted all of her friends in such a way that they became stone-like and dull. At the same time, the nearby stones began to melt away in ecstatic love. When there was stretching of the body of Nārada Muni from chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he chanted so loudly that it was apprehended that Lord Nṛsimha had appeared. Thus all the demons began to flee in different directions. It is also said that sometimes when Nārada, the carrier of the vīṇā, remembers his Lord Krishna in great ecstasy, he begins to stretch his body so vigorously that his sacred thread gives way. A gopi once said to Krishna, "My dear son of Nanda Maharaj, by the sound of your flute, Srimati Radharani has become full of lamentation and fear, and thus, with a faltering voice, she is crying like a kurobi bird." It is described that by hearing the vibration of Krishna's flute, Lord Shiva becomes very puzzled and begins to cry so loudly into space that the demons become vanquished and the devotees become overwhelmed with joy. It is said that when the full moon rises, the lotus petals become expanded. Similarly, when Krishna used to appear before Radharani, her face, which is compared with the lotus flower, would expand by her yawning. As far as breathing heavily is concerned, it is stated, Lalita, one of the gopis, is just like a chataki bird, which only takes water falling directly from the rain cloud and not from any other source. In this statement, Krishna is compared to the dark cloud, and Lalita is compared to the chataki bird seeking only Krishna's company. The metaphor continues to say, "As a heavy wind sometimes disperses a mighty cloud, so the heavy breath from Lalita's nostrils caused her to miss Krishna, who had disappeared by the time she recovered herself." As far as neglecting the presence of others is concerned, the wives of the Brahmins who were performing sacrifices at Vrindavan left home as soon as they heard that Krishna was nearby. They left their homes without caring for their learned husbands. The husbands began to discuss this amongst themselves. How wonderful is the attraction for Krishna that it has made these women leave us without any care. This is the influence of Krishna. Anyone who becomes attracted to Krishna can be relieved from the bondage of birth and death, which can be compared to the locked-up homes that were neglected by the wives of the Brahmins. In the Padyavali, there is a statement by some devotees, "We shall not care for any outsiders. If they should deride us, we shall still not care for them. We shall simply enjoy the transcendental mellow of chanting Hare Krishna, and thus we shall roll on the ground and dance ecstatically." In this way, we shall eternally enjoy transcendental bliss. As an example of the running down of saliva from the mouth, it is stated that sometimes when Nārada Muni was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he remained stunned for a while, and saliva oozed from his mouth. When a devotee laughs very loudly like a madman, it is done out of an extraordinary agitation of ecstatic love within the heart. Such mad laughing is an expression of the condition of the heart, which is technically called atahas. When a devotee becomes affected with this mental condition, his love is expressed through the lips. The laughing sounds, coming one after another, are compared to flowers falling from the creeper of devotion which grows within the heart of the devotee. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, devotional service to the Lord is also compared to a creeper which rises up to the lotus feet of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. One gopi told her friend, "It appears that Lord Kṛṣṇa, the enemy of the demon Aga, has released from his mouth a whirlwind which is acting on your head and is gradually proceeding to do the same to the other lotus-eyed gopis." Sometimes belching also becomes a symptom of ecstatic love for Krishna. There is evidence of this in Purnamasi's address to one crying associate of Radharani. "My dear daughter, don't be worried because Srimati Radharani is belching. I am about to offer a remedial measure for this symptom. Do not cry so loudly. This belching is not due to indigestion. It is a sign of ecstatic love for Krishna. I shall arrange to cure this belching symptom immediately. Don't be worried." This statement of Purnamasi is evidence that ecstatic love for Krishna is sometimes manifested through belching. Sometimes trembling of the whole body and hemorrhaging from some part of the body are also manifested in response to ecstatic love for Krishna. But such symptoms are very rare, and therefore Srila Rupa Goswami does not discuss any further on this point.